Hi, in this short video we'll provide the overview of the report for 409A type valuations. So the report here provided is, the template provided is in Word format, and we're keeping it that way for now. You will see that throughout the report the areas that need to be changed were highlighted in yellow, but not all of it is highlighted in yellow, so you still have to read page by page and line by line and make sure that everything is updated. As well as on the very first page you will see common stock valuation. It can always be a warrant valuation, or it can be only for 718 purposes and not for 498 purposes. And so the front page needs to be updated, so is the rest of the report. You will see the first letter to the client that sums up the value conclusions. And the important thing here also to keep in mind that we try to create the template so that things like subject company, for example, and I will increase the font here. So subject company here is something that you can find and replace throughout the document and not keep retyping it. The same thing goes for valuation date, valuation date here is obviously here to the right of the document a little bit, so in this template it's June 30th, so that could be replaced. Also make sure that this yellow part that addresses the board of directors is something that's really only relevant to 409A purposes, where the stock is valued for stock option grants. And so again, if it's not for 409A, if it's purely for 718 purposes, then we have to remove all the references to the tax code and to 409A and to fair market value and the associated footnotes. So the basic structure of the report, I'll zoom out again. It's the report is split in Word terms, in terms of Word as a software, split in several sections here. And so this first page and I believe the second page is the same section, but you'll notice that you have to change the client name, for example, in the header, not once but twice, so that it kind of goes through the rest of the document. Again, the best way to do that is find and replace, as opposed to typing it in. Let's move to the table of contents. So table of contents is, well, first of all, the mechanics of Word is such that this is assembled automatically. And for you to be able to accurately and automatically create this table of content, you need to make sure that you observe the styles that that Word provides as as a function. So again, I'll zoom out a little bit altogether from Word here, and you might see here. So the styles here is something that's very important throughout the document. The only styles that we're using right now is header 1, header 2, and header 3. You will see that everything changes automatically once you use the styles. Hopefully it's all well defined, but the styles are very finicky, and so they will change on you throughout the work, and it's important to keep the styles consistent because again they will translate into our table of contents. The way to deal with styles, again, the header 1 is used relatively rarely. It's mostly defines the main sections, and header 2 and header 3 trickle down in terms of their importance. Sometimes you get stuck and you try to change the style, but it's not changing it, or it's changing other styles. And so what you do with that header that's behaving badly, you actually go into this menu and you clear formatting here. And when you clear formatting, then you can easily go back and apply the style that you need, and it'll work. So talked about the styles a little bit. Again, it's all sort of nitty-gritty. The general logic of the report has to have logic. It's not just a random accumulation of words, obviously. And so the type of logic that we use in this reports for 409A purposes, and I wish I knew how to move the frame, but the general logic here is such that, well, first of all, we start with introduction. When you update this table of contents, so you essentially select and you go here and update fields, and so in only page numbers of entire table you can do that. What will happen, it'll also pull some titles from pages that are above this table of contents, and so you will have to go select them and delete. So you can just select and delete, right? What's important here to note is that the logic of the report, well, first the introduction is pretty boilerplate. Economic overview, no more than 2 pages. Industry overview, no more than 2 pages, no less than 1 page. And there are instructions on industry overview. Company overview also has its details in the template, what needs to go in there. Then the overall logic of the analysis is a lot of reports start with describing enterprise value analysis, and that's not really where the thinking starts with those types of valuations. Thinking really starts when you select whether you're going to use OPM or PWARM or current value method, almost never, or hybrid method sometimes. And so therefore we really move this common stock valuation method up front. So that's where we describe how we gonna value the stock, because stock needs to be valued. Enterprise value is one of the inputs to that analysis, and it should be viewed as such, and therefore it goes second. But really the whole logic starts with just enterprise and with a selection of OPM or PWARM or hybrid method. So that selection will be outlined in this common stock valuation method, and then from there we'll list, that page will also list the steps that we have to go through. And for OPM, for example, it will say, enterprise, and notice this is enterprise equity value, it's not enterprise business value. And so we do enterprise value, we allocate equity based on the waterfall analysis, and so that what gives us the value of the shares in most cases. A lot of times for smaller companies as well, we also do backsolve. And so again, backsolve follows after we determine the value of shares under the top-down OPM approach. In other words, here on allocation of equity value section, in this section, we determine the value of shares, but then hey, we have another way to look at it. We just had the round of financing, and so let's backsolve. With backsolve analysis, we're not concerned with equity value at all. We're just trying to backsolve using the preferred share value to get to the common share value, and so this analysis is outlined here. And so only after we get those 2 different indications of common share value, we blend them together. We take some kind of a weighted average, and after that weighted average, we apply discount for lack of marketability, because according to the exposure draft, discount for lack of marketability is typically the same, but actually not always. And so there is certainly a situation where we might, for backsolve purposes, not use DLOM at all. That's certainly possible when the when the latest round of financing is a significant controlling party invests in that. And then value conclusion, it's really just a description of weighted average analysis, and from there the rest of it trickle through. So I'll stop here, and again, think about the overall logic. Think about the fact that we first describe the common stock value and valuation methodology, and only then we get to the OPM top-down sort of analysis. In this, when the report is structured like this, it's very easy to just delete back solve methodology if we're not using it at all. In that case, the report is a lot easier to handle, and you don't have to move sections around. Ideally, this report will be, the template will be accommodated for P-worm methodology as well, but for now, this type of approach should cover 90% of all our situation. Thanks.